and the Invest podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Johnny Invest. Please smack that subscribe button to subscribe to Invest Universal and be notified every time we drop dope, banging content. And I got a guest so dope that for this one, we wasn't gonna run no Zoom or nothing like that. I had her, I think it was like 2 years back. I can't believe how long it's been. It didn't really seem that long. It seemed like it was yesterday me and her was talking. And I knew at some point I want to get with her again, have a conversation. She's somebody that's an acquaintance, actually a friend of mine. She came to a couple of events I had, a couple boot camp. I think she drove out there for like hardly in her sleep just to show up to support the Invest boot camp, to support Johnny Invest, man. Me and her about to have a conversation about life. We're going to talk about her podcast, what she does on live, which is dope. I've tuned in many a time. No matter what I'm doing, I get notification at the gym, at the grocery store, in the car. I turn it on and listen to it, and it's definitely dope. I want to welcome my girl and fellow podcaster, Jennifer Arellano, to the Invest Podcast. Jen, what's up, girl?
Thank you. And I'm super excited to be here. I love the new,
for sure,
studio and everything, and I can't wait to hear what you've been doing.
For sure. Hey, I gotta hear what you've been doing. I knew when I decided to launch the Invest podcast in studio, you were one of the first guests I definitely wanted to get onto the show. And I've been running some episodes with some dope women lately. And if I'm not mistaken, it's actually like Women's History Month. It's this month, and March 1st was the first day of it. So, I've been having some dope women on the show. I want to definitely hear about what you've been doing. But before, let's get my guests that have not tuned into the first show that we did, which was like 2 years ago, and tell our guests like where you're from, a little bit about you, and then we're going to get into it.
Okay. My name is Jennifer. I am from Stockton, California.
Oh, nice.
Exactly. I got my hands in a little bit of everything. I would say that I'm definitely an entrepreneur. I have a podcast. I am in the beauty industry.
Yeah.
I am a real estate agent, and I'm working on a few things in the background, so always keeping it exciting.
Like for you, every time I see you, you're like busy. Remind me almost like a female version of me. I'm like, man, she's always doing something. It's cosmetics. And then I looked up that she was selling houses. I mean, just having that growth mindset and just always just leveling up. I want to ask you really quickly because I know a few people that went and took the real estate exam, and I know some people didn't pass the first time. Like, how was that? I heard it was like, it's not like the easiest test. You got to study a little bit?
You got to study a lot of it. It took me a little while, I'm going to be honest. I wasn't being consistent.
Yeah.
And as soon as I dove into the information, I was like, I really got to set some time aside and really dive into the information. This isn't just something that you can skim over and then pass the test.
It's not like you can just take this 5-day just crash course and master this, go out there and just sell flip houses, right?
No, absolutely not. I think it's the legalities of it all, because it's kind of like learning a new language. You're speaking a different language when you get into legalities and things like that, and different jurisdictions and all that stuff. So, yeah, I definitely had to study, but I will say that the studying paid off. I walked in unsure of how the test was going to go.
Right.
Walking out, I was unsure of how the test was going to go.
Hey, so when do you get your results? Is it like immediate results? You wait like a hour or two, or how do you read on the computer?
It did read on the computer. So not there at the place.
Email you or something like that?
They did email me. And it was crazy because at first, when I first checked it, because I checked it right as soon as I left, and they were like, we'll post your results within 5 days. And I was like, okay. So I get home, and I'm showing my friend, I'm like, look, this is what it says. And then all of a sudden, it read, congratulations, you passed. I was like, no way. I was tripping out. So I was excited that I passed on the first one because a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
So.
That's dope. And some of the people I know didn't pass the first time. So let's just talk about just like, what makes Jennifer, the way she is, because you're not like, from talking to you, from knowing you a little while, you're just not necessarily the traditional person like me. I'm not traditional. I'm always kind of thinking outside the box. I'm always thinking about what can I do to better myself? What can I do to level up? Because I'm not satisfied with just being like regular. I'm just a little bit different. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just a guy where I'm like, I want to live a life that's fulfilled.
Right.
And, I feel like fulfillment and purpose, as I've talked about it before on past shows, it's just different for like different types of people. But it seems like me and you kind of have that same like similar mindset. I know we talked about it like on a previous show. I remember something that really tripped me out. I was laughing. I still laugh to this day. I think you were talking to your ex or something like that, and you were talking about something about life, and he's like, "This is what we are. This is what we're always gonna be."
Yeah.
And at some point, you decided that wasn't gonna work for you. Just let's kind of touch on that. Like when did you like? Because obviously, you know, when you may have got with that person, maybe you're at a different point in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why it worked. But then I think you were trying to like level up, and then they were trying to like how was that? When did you kind of decided, hey, you know, that's not going to work for me because I'm trying to, you know, go to this level, but then maybe they didn't want to come with you?
Well, I think I kind of realized it when we were always bumping heads.
Yeah.
And
sure.
then, you know, during one of the arguments, he said that. He was just like, you know, I don't know why you're trying to do what you're trying to do. This is our life. This is where we're from. This is all we're going to be. And I just stepped
And that
back.
was stalking, right?
And I stopped arguing. I couldn't even argue with that anymore. I'm like, you know what? If this is what you envision for your life,
Yeah.
I can't be a part of it because this ain't me.
Yeah.
I may be from the hood, but I'm not going to die here.
Yeah.
That's on everything. And I think that that was really a major turning point in my life because that was the first time that I chose me.
Yeah.
That was like the first time that I chose me, and I was just like, I decided right then and there, like, I'm not going to live this life. And ever since I left, it's just been level up, level up, level up, level up, because I can't let you be right.
You know, I'm not like a relationship expert or anything like that. Not, you know, I've had my fair share of struggles in relationships, so I'm not no guru or anything like that, or a master on friendships and stuff like that. But one thing I've learned, you know, in my years of, you know, me continuing to grow, it really is important to make sure that the things that are around you, you know, the people that you're involved with, the people that you talk to, just your intake, your environment, it really needs to be somewhat aligned with where you're trying to go. Because if you have like, even like negative, like negative talk, like I tell people sometimes, like if you leave a conversation, you feel a certain kind of way, and you really think hard about it inside, even though the person may say, I'm just joking, I'm just playing, there's some truth to that. You got to really follow like your intuition and stuff like that. So, you know, one of the things I really push on this show is like self-invest. So when people think about invest, they think about, you know, stocks and bonds and stuff like that. That's a form of investing, but I'm all about investing in yourself and your betterment. So just talk about really quickly about like healthy environments. I've heard you see post some things about that. Let's talk about positive environment. And some people may want to be reaching for a goal. They want to get somewhere, but don't realize that some of the things that they're around or talking to is actually contributing to them not getting to where they want to get to. Can you touch on that real quick?
Right, yeah. The environment is very important. Who you have around you, you know, they say that the 5 people that you're closest to is who you're going to be like the most.
The 5 people, okay.
Right.
Wow.
So if you have people around you that are just smoking, drinking, chilling all day, not really motivated, then you're probably going to be sitting back chilling doing the same thing.
For sure.
But when you surround yourself with people who are ambitious, who are driven, who are spiritual, who are, you know, investing, you know, then they start to bring that out of you. And sometimes it's not on purpose. Sometimes it's just the effect of being close proximity.
Yeah, it should be natural.
Yeah. And so I think that it starts with, you know, the people. Because once you have the people, then you start to think differently. But another important part of that really is your environment, creating your place of peace. Like, I don't let people come to my house anymore.
Okay.
I used to be.
No more kickbacks.
Right, no more kickbacks. My place used to be the spot. I was the youngest with my own apartment, and you know we were all chilling and having a good time. And now everything's different. Yeah. Now it's like I protect my home because that's my environment. That's my place of peace. That's where my visions are created, and I create my vision inside of my environment. And what I mean by that is, you know, you want to feel where you're going. You want to see where you're going. You want to use all of your senses to be able to manifest all of that, right? So I put vision boards up. I have words of affirmations up everywhere. I have stuff written in my bathroom mirror, in my room mirror, in my garage. I mean, everywhere that I'm going, I see my future. And that's what keeps me focused. That's why my environment is so important to me, and I protect it at all costs. So if, I had somebody ask to use my pool, like, kind of like how, like, rent it out, right?
Rent it out, Airbnb pool, you get a pool, yeah.
And I had seen her a little bit later after telling her no, and she was like, oh, I got a bone to pick with you, Jen. I was like, well, what's that?
Was it like a friend of yours?
Yeah, she was a friend. It was cool, it was all like.
But she asked you to use the pool, you was kind of like, nah.
Yeah, because.
Ooh, awkward.
Well, but you know what? And that's what I mean by protecting your peace at all costs. Because I don't care how other people feel about it. Right. You know what I'm saying? I love you. You're my friend. But, I don't know who all these people are that you want to invite. Yeah. And she's just like, oh, well, we're just going to be outside. And I'm like, that's cool. You're going to get a porta potty too? Because.
Chilling, drinking. You know how they right. the pool and the alcohol go kind of hand in hand, kickbacks, kind of how that go.
Right. So it's like you got to learn to tell people no. And protecting your peace and your environment. And so I don't let everybody come into my home. I'm a very spiritual person, and I believe in energy and things like that. So I'm very protective of my environment, my people that I surround myself with. Very, very cautious when it comes to that. I have many acquaintances. I know a lot of people, but friends are few and far between. Like the people that I call friends are people who I've known 10 plus years. Who are actually invited to my home, you know what I'm saying? So the environment part is super important, and it has to be conducive for growth.
Yeah. It seems like you have some principles that are like your non-negotiables.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's one thing I tell people sometimes. Once you have your principles, there's certain things that are non-negotiable for me. Certain things I'm just not going to apologize for. These are the things that Johnny Invest definitely needs. So I definitely did myself also learn a lot over the past couple of years about quality, quality of life, quality of relationships, quality of environment. Didn't realize, many, many years back why I was feeling sad, depressed, and like my life wasn't going the way that it really was supposed to go. And I started to actually take intake of what I was doing. What was my work environment, what people I was talking to at work, my friends, the things that they were saying to me. I started really realizing that there were some situations, some things that I had to really, I call it clean out my closet. I had to do some cleaning of my closet to really start to get my mind into a better place where I could really start to really level up into the Johnny Invest that I am today. And this guy, I can say I wake up happy, in a good mood, like, man, I can get these things done because I don't have all this garbage. I'm listening to all this garbage around me, like all this hate around me, like, all this, feeling like I gotta, fight all this off and this extra stress, man. So definitely. So let's talk a little bit about your podcast, the name, listen to the name of it. You decided to just go live with it. I think it's raw because there's no editing. It's unscripted. And what people have to realize is the thing, with podcasting, it doesn't have to be scripted. I think the best shows and the best content is just raw. Yeah. I know you, and I didn't shoot you a big panel of questions or anything like that. We're just going to run a conversation. I think it's better that way when it's just more organic and people just want real. But let's talk a little bit about your show, about some of your topics. You had a really, really good guest on a couple weeks ago. You guys talked something about knowing when it's time to let go. Yes. Relationships and stuff like that. Yeah. And for a lot of people, I think letting go, it's not just relationships with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, even friendships and things like that. I could say even sometimes places of employment, because that's a relationship. Yeah. I've heard people say, well, I've been here for 15 years. I don't really like being here, but it's security for me. I got the benefits, I got this and that, but they get up every day and they're miserable. Yeah. I'm like, damn. They say, well, I got another, 15 years, 20 years of retirement. I'm like, wow, that's rough. They want to take that. They want to take that leap, but they're afraid. And it's just like in relationships too. Even a bad relationship, somebody will stay in something really bad, but they know just how bad it is. Yeah. Well, my podcast it's titled Beautifully You. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook Live.
It's also on Apple Podcasts.
Okay.
And it's a podcast about the journey of life. And the way that I see it is it's a journey of becoming beautifully you. It's like, you know, when you first come out, you're like a little caterpillar, right? You don't know much, and you have to kind of grow into who you are.
Yeah.
And eventually, if you work on that growth, you will become the beautiful butterfly. So it's titled Beautifully You, and it's about personal growth, self-development, you know, financial education, relationships, just, you know, everything about you, everything about you. And the podcast, Knowing When to Leave. Man,
I was listening to that one. I was like, man, they get really deep on that one, because that's, you know, a lot of people, you know, there's some very happy people out there, some people that aren't, and some people that may need to leave. But just knowing when to leave. I know you talked about it, because it is hard sometimes when you've invested so much time in something. You know, you've done something 5, 10 years, 15 years. Oh my God, it's so much tied to it. And then what scares people when they want to leave a situation, they start to think about what it looks like.
Yeah.
Versus like just getting up and going, they're thinking about, man, what does that actually look like? And then that fear will keep somebody really in a bad situation. But there's more fear, some people, for what it looks like if I were to leave that situation. So sometimes people will just live in just this kind of like visual, like universe and realm, right?
See, and that's where perception comes into play. Because you can be in a situation and be scared because you don't know what it looks like when you leave, but I'm more afraid of being stuck in this situation because I'm a resilient person. And if I don't like a situation, I'll leave it, you know, depending on how the situation was. It could be a good leave, it could be a bad leave. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on how the dice rolls, you know what I'm saying? But it's just, you have to know when to put the cards down. And I talked about it in the podcast too, because it's about self-preservation. And a lot of people don't really understand that, and they get stuck in things that they're comfortable in, not knowing that if they were to leave, their biggest blessings are right beyond that door. And I'm just like, man, I want all those blessings. And if I feel in my gut that something is holding me back, you know what, I love you, but I'm gone. Because a lot of the times the people that you leave are still going to be there 5 years later doing what they were doing. And if the love is real and if it's genuine, then they'll still be there. And you guys will still be able to come back and pick up right where you left off. Like, I have my best friends. Sometimes, like, my best friend, for example, we've known each other since we were like 11 years old. And there's been times in our life where we didn't talk for a couple years. And it wasn't because we were mad at each other. It's just that our roads kind of disconnected. I was having kids. She was single and having fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Like that, I can see how that could be different.
Right. And then even in relationships, you know, you can be with somebody who's an incredible person, right? But at the same time, some things just don't align. And if, like, especially for women, if you have an instinct, woman's intuition, like, follow that. Follow that, because that's God talking to you. And women have such a spiritual thing about them. That's why I always say, like, if you are really spiritually connected, you need to listen to what you are telling you, because that's God talking. And if it's time to go, you got to go. Regardless whether there's love there or not, you have to do what you're supposed to do. It's called obedience. And when you're obedient to His word, you will be blessed.
So, for me, I believe sometimes things that you have to do, things that you need to do, whatever it is, you can be leaving a situation, you can be leveling up and trying something new, but things that are new and different are definitely sometimes seem a little scary, a little bit hard at first. Am I right? Because I know with you, some of the things that you've done, you're putting yourself out there. You've definitely done some things that took just having just that consistency and just that dog grind in you to just say, you know what, I'm doing this regardless. Yeah, I'm a little fearful, but I'm fearful if I don't go out and do this. So let's give people a little bit of motivation on that. Like, hey, it's okay to be a little bit afraid. Like, it's natural. Yeah. Like, if nothing scares you, like, you're not human.
Right.
Like even like for me, like, you know, I went into a different situation probably a little over a year ago. I took a new management role at a new place, and great company. But prior to me going there, I didn't know. You know, I was at a place already. I'd been there for a number of years. You know, I was solid there. I had security there. I knew, like, man, I'm going to be good here another, 25 years until I retire. But then I was like, I want to go out there and give this a shot. I think this is a better situation for me, but I just don't know. So I'll be real with you. The night before I started, I didn't sleep because it was because I had to go in and learn a whole new thing. Over there, I knew the system. I knew everything. I knew the whole inner workings of. I knew everybody's name. I mean, on my first day at the new place, I got lost going to the break room. I got lost. I couldn't find the cafeteria. Man, I don't know about this. But then I kept coming back. I was so afraid to fail. I'm like, I'm going to put everything I can into really getting this down. But I'll be real, at first, it definitely was some fear there. So let's talk a little bit about some times maybe you may have had some fear, but you just kept going. Because again, one of the biggest deterrent for people in their life, and a lot of times of where they're not where they want to get to, it's fear. Some people have great dreams, great goals. I've talked to so many people over the years about things that they want to do with their life. I've talked to people about different jobs they want to go after. I've talked to people about relationships they want to walk away from. But unfortunately, many of those same people are still in the same sad pit. Because they tell me, John, I'm just afraid. I don't know how you go out there and do it. I'm just fearful. So let's talk about a time when maybe you've tried something new. You were afraid to for me, I'm one of this guy to where I have this, I want to say a chip on my shoulder, but I want to prove him wrong.
Yeah. I used to be afraid. I was afraid of what other people would think. I was afraid of the unknown. But then I just started jumping out the plane and building my parachute on the way down. And that changed everything because it's a different type of rush. Yeah. And now it's like, that's what makes me hungry. Like, when I don't know something, I want to master it. Like, I really want to get into it because I've learned that applied knowledge is power. So it's not just the process of learning it, it's the part of applying it, because a lot of people will be unsuccessful due to legitimate excuses. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what, I can't do this because I'm comfortable. Yeah. What about my retirement? You know what, those are all legitimate excuses. I can understand that. Yeah. But what if? And you'll never know the answer to those what ifs unless you try. But the thing about it is, if you don't try, you're going to be stuck there and you're never going to know what this could have been. If something fails there, guess what? You've learned something new. Yeah. And you may not have made it the first time, but you can always go back a second time. I don't say that I've ever failed. I've learned lessons. I've failed forward, but I never stayed stuck. I can't allow it. When we met, right, I had a construction company. I owned
I remember that.
Yeah. And then after COVID, unfortunately, we lost it. So I'm not even gonna lie, I was scared. Yeah. I was scared because that was my income. I was making over $100,000 a year, and I'm just like,
lose that.
Yeah. And I just bought my house, all this stuff, and I'm just like, dang, what am I gonna do? Like
a dark day or two.
Oh, absolutely. I'm human. You know what I'm saying?
Something happened like that, it has to be like a few dark days of just figuring out the game plan, because you making that kind of money, you didn't have to worry about money.
I didn't. Checks
was coming in, money was coming in, didn't have that just grind to a halt. I mean, I think a lot of people may have just broken down and not being able to come back from that. So, I mean, mindset, well, you had to have that Jennifer, let's get it together moment, right?
Remember when I told you I have stuff written on my mirror?
Yeah.
I would look in my mirror in the morning and read those. I am amazing. I am successful. I am loved. I am grateful. I am gonna make it. I'm the one, man. I'm just pumping myself up all day long. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are gonna get this. It don't matter what obstacles that we got in front of us. It's okay. I'm up for the challenge.
When I hear people talk negatively about themselves, that's one of the biggest things I say. You talk to yourself positively. Don't wait for anybody else to tell you you're great, you're dope, and amazing. You know that inside. Like that inner confidence. It's not cockiness, but to really make it out here, you have to have confidence. Yeah. Nobody, if you're not confident, nobody else is going to believe in you. So I really believe the importance of that positive self-talk. Yeah. Doing what you got to do, putting props in your bedroom, whatever you got to do to tell yourself you're dope, you're amazing. You believe that, and you build yourself up. You build that confidence. When you build yourself up and you believe in yourself, there's really not a limit to the things that you can go out there and do. So I think for a lot of people, it's just they lack that confidence, and they're waiting for somebody else to tell them they're great. They're waiting for someone else to tell them they're dope. And that's for me many years ago. That was me. You know, I was needing, like, man, this person, I'm not getting validated by this person or validated by that individual. I was getting kind of hurt by it, getting upset about it. And then once I realized that a lot of people, they don't believe in them. They're not confident. Yeah. They don't love themselves. They're not reaching their goals and dreams. Then why the hell would they care to give you anything positive to support you? Were you ever like that kind of? Because I think society kind of is. We kind of want to be validated by people. And once I really realized I need them to validate me, that's when Johnny Invest just leveled up.
And that goes back to like childhood traumas, right? Yeah. Abandonment issues, things like that, needing to be validated and getting your worth from other people. And we had talked about the environment. I get on every morning, Monday through Friday.
You get a call every morning?
Every single morning with a great friend of mine. His name is Kevin Hell. Okay. And the goal for the call is to get you aligned socially, mentally, financially, spiritually, right? So it's become kind of like my morning cup of coffee.
Nice.
Like,
that's the way to start.
You know, we get positive motivation every day. You know, it's aligning you, you know, with all of that. It's filling you up. Like, we watch a motivational video, maybe E.T. or, you know, one of those.
That dog.
Yeah. You know, just, I mean, there's so many, right? John C. Maxwell. So many people, right? Yeah. And we watch a video, we take notes, we give our takeaways, and then we do what most people call affirmations. But we call it beautiful self-talk because it's the way that you talk to yourself. And that's where we kind of share in the energy. Like, it's a Zoom call, and we all get on the call, and there's like a little page that he shows on there, and it says all those things. I'm amazing, I'm successful, I'm loved. And we all say it at the same time, and we share in that energy. And it's like, if you've ever been on a call like that, the energy is so beautiful. And to be able to start your day off like that with the right people, with the right mindset, like, man, that is powerful. And because of that, it's leveled up my life in so many ways. And, you know, I want to give you more information, but I'm working on some things in the background. But you know what? Stay tuned, because there's some big things coming.
For sure.
Okay. And it has a lot to do with that, because, you know, my passion is helping other people, because I can remember being in that mindset, like being unhappy and being sad and being depressed and not feeling like I'm ever going to be anything. And then the way that I scratched and clawed my way out, I'm just like, man, I want to help other people. I want to give other people the blueprint. I want them to see that if I could do it, they could do it too. Because trust me, the way that my life was, where I grew up, like I said, I was born in Stockton, Southside Stockton. You know what I'm saying? So some of us don't make it out.
You do not go unless you have to go.
Right.
You get friends and family. It's not a place you just go visit. There's no like tourist attractions.
Right. So my goal is to really help other people do the same, because I just remember feeling the way that I felt, and I don't want other people to feel the same way.
Yeah, heck of a story. So for me, when I listen to life coaches, when I listen to business people, I align with people that are like me. People who came from where I came from. You know, didn't have the greatest childhood. You know, it was a little bit rough. You know, mom did her best, but it was rough. Yeah. And it's like this. I said it before in a podcast. It's like, say you're an addiction counselor and you've never smoked crack. You know, I mean, you're telling somebody about, you know, addiction, and say you're a life coach. You know, you're trying to talk to average people. And you grew up with a great life, you grew up with money. I'm not saying you can't help people, because you certainly can, but I believe a person that has been to the places or been where, the average person has been, which a lot of people have had a hard life.
Yeah.
Those people are definitely going to be more effective coaches, because you definitely can align with them. Eric Thomas, being homeless. A lot of these people that are up here now, a lot of them came from nothing, because what happens is when you struggle in life, sometimes it creates that hunger, it creates that fire to where you'll go without sleep.
Oh yeah,
to do something that you want to do. There's times when I was doing out there grinding, and I had 3 hours of sleep. I'm like, hey, I gotta get this done.
Where does the energy come from? From the passion of the need, the want, the ambition. Yeah.
And it's the thing. So living in this microwave society, people sometimes will go out and they'll do something and it won't work for them the first month or two and they quit. Talk to people, because one of my brand pillars, I put out a new hoodie, got a hoodie, it says work ethic, consistency, and discipline. Like I said on a previous show, you can master those 3. You're going to be really hard to stop in life. You get up, you got work ethic. You're disciplined as hell. And you're hella consistent. A lot of people don't have work ethic. Not every day. They don't show up every day. They may show up 2 or 3 days out of the 7. It's just not going to get it done. and you're not, people like discipline. They lack it. And you're just not consistent.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about consistency when it really comes to a goal. A lot of things that we're trying to do, like me and the things I'm building, this is long term.
Oh, yeah.
Invest is building, but I understood that once I started Invest. But a lot of people, when they're going after something, that I think if you get the mindset right of the work that needs to happen, understanding the discipline, because you're going to be tired someday. You're not going to feel good every day. I didn't put motivation on the back of my new hoodie, because motivation comes and goes. I hear people say, well, you know what, I didn't do nothing this week because I wasn't motivated. So what?
Right.
But again, if you get mastery of having work ethic and discipline, being consistent, you're going to show up even on the days when you're not motivated. Let's talk to the guests a little bit about that, because people, they need this game, because I hear the average person say, well, I didn't do nothing today because I just wasn't motivated. And depending on yourself to be motivated every day, you'll be dead in the water most of the time.
Right. So let me just start by saying this. Success is boring.
Yes.
Success is boring because it's doing the same thing over
All
and
the time.
over and over and over. When you see these motivational speakers, they're speaking maybe not the same exact words, but pretty similar.
Yeah.
Every single event that they go to, everything that the message is the same. Everything's the same.
Yeah.
It's about building the audience. It's about building the business. And it takes time.
Yes.
It takes time. And you're not always going to be motivated. So it's important to wake up and really, really understand your why, because when there's an emotion behind it, it doesn't matter whether you're motivated. You're going to do it regardless, because it's like life or death. Like, there has to be some type of emotion, something that's going to move you. Because if you don't have that, you're going to be like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to just sit down on the couch and watch Netflix today because I'm not really worried about it. Nah, I don't even turn the TV on in my house.
Yeah.
Like, we have one TV in our whole entire house,
Oh.
and we never watch it. Like, it's just certain things that you have to do consistently in order to really get to the success. And the hard part is telling yourself and following the command. And that's where the discipline comes in. And so it's important too, like, if you're really trying to do something, track it. Write it down. If you have to write down every single thing that you have to do and at the exact time so that you can follow your own directions, then honey, I suggest that's what you do. And then once you start doing that, things start to change and it becomes habitual and you don't have to write it down anymore. And that's just how business is. And then you find a new process and a new process, and then you can continue elevating and just making small changes and just becoming that better version. But you're still staying consistent in the message or in the actions and things like that. And that's just how it happens. So you're not always going to be motivated, but you have to have your reason why.
You have to. So I'm going to be eventually down the line be writing a book. It's going to be called The Invest Chronicles, your personal guide to fill your life's cup, your life's glass. So let's talk. Before we get out of here, let's definitely touch on this. We've touched on most of the show, but in those words, like the importance of filling your life's cup. So people always ask me for advice and different things. I'll tell them, this is what worked for me. This is what worked for Johnny Invest. But you have to really sit back and think about, what's going to work for you. What makes you feel good. So I noticed one thing, I've got some life coaching certification and stuff like that, and I tell people that people are looking for people to guide them, tell them exactly what to do. And I feel like, you really have to, it's good to listen to people and things like that, but you have to figure out if it's going to really work for you because, like I said on a previous show, following the herd doesn't always work out for you. And I talk a lot about, are you leading your own life, or are you going through your life in an autopilot type of situation? What are you truly actually doing? You're over there doing this and that. Is that something that you really want to do, or do that you do that because it worked for your parents, it worked for your friends? But you have to figure out what's going to work for you. What do you want to put in your cup? Some people drink the coffee, some tea, some juice, some water.
And some gin and juice,
Hey, yeah. So before we get it out of here, let's talk about just the true value of filling up your life's cup, because that's what you embody. That's knowing you. That's what you're about. It seems like you're continuing to try to put good into Jennifer's cup of life, but everybody's cup and what they put in there is a little bit different, right?
Right, exactly. And whatever you fill it with is what's going to spill out. And so, for me, I really take the time to spend alone, so that I can hear myself.
Okay.
When you're always around people and getting all these inputs, it's hard to hear your own voice amidst the chaos, right? And so I spend a majority of the time alone.
Wow.
I spend hours and hours just studying. And I spend that time intentionally so that when I do open my mouth or when I do spend time with somebody, every single time, every single thing, there's value being given.
Yeah.
And that's what's most important to me. Like I said, my passion is helping other people. So I don't want to give people what I don't want to receive myself.
Yeah.
And so for me, the most important thing I think about when you talk about filling your cup is really doing that, is really getting alone, being by yourself and really figuring out what you want. Because if you put a lot of people in a room by themselves for days, months, something at a time, they can't handle it.
No, for sure.
Like, people are just like, I don't know how you do it. Like, you want to know why or how? I'm my best friend, man. I rock with me.
It's weird because, I feel like my best thoughts and my best ideas, they kind of come in my time of just being alone, being by myself. And I think people like us, we can kind of we understand just the importance of having that clear mind, that time to be think, for yourself. Back in the day, like I said, I always had a lot of people around me. And my thinking, things were foggy, things weren't clear. You see, I was getting all these inputs, all these people telling me all this stuff, and my brain was like scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
And, once I had time where I was just spending time just by myself, that's when my ideas opened up more, just my thoughts opened up more. And then I actually started to realize, kind of like me.
Right?
It's really crazy, that way because, like I said, I had a lot of people around me at one point in time. I thought I had so many different friends. I got 20 friends. I said to myself at one point, I got 20 homeboys. And I started realizing that at the end of the day, I really only had 2 or 3 real ones, but it was quality. So, before we get out of here, let's talk to people it's about quality. It's about quality of life, You don't have to have a truckload of things around you, a truckload of people around you. It's really about the quality.
Yeah.
And invest is about, chasing your dreams and chasing your passions. It's not necessarily just about being rich. Of course, being rich is great, but there's things in life, to me, that are even more valuable than money. Just like me being, just my happiness.
Oh, yeah. I think everybody's definition of rich is going to be different because it's all in the eye of the beholder, I can be rich in family. I can be rich in love. I can be rich in happiness.
Yeah.
The money is just a bonus.
For sure.
But it's all about the energy I carry, and whatever energy I carry, that's going to attract everything that I want, and that's going to make me rich in the sense that I see it. So, just.
Yeah, that's real stuff because everybody's rich is different.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people, again, get in this spot because they think that they have to have this, they have to do that. This is funny. This is many, many years ago. I'm a personal trainer too. I was training a client of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And this individual made really good $1,000 a
Mm-hmm.
year, boats, all this stuff. Broke down to me crying.
Yeah.
Wife left him, had all this money, but he was like, Johnny, it's all great to have money, man, but he said, I'm gonna give you one piece of advice, man. Chase happiness over money, because I have money, I don't have to worry about anything, but I'm extremely unhappy. So that was the first time that I had ever spoke to anybody that wasn't being terrific. I'm like, what are you talking about? You got everything like your house, you get this big old crib. What is she talking about? Big fat car, all this stuff, right? Nice suits. And that was the first time you really been able to hear that, and those words really stuck with me. He said, chase happiness over money. Like, it's great, you need money to pay your bills and to get by and all that, but don't put money over happiness. You're gonna lose every single time.
I've heard that. I know a lot of people who have a lot of money, and they've shared those same sentiments. Because of that, I'm just like, I see it. It's just like money is not always going to make you happy. So chase the things that will make you happy, and then when you chase the things that make you happy and you become happy, your energy changes, and then that's when you start to attract. And that's what I'm all about, is attracting everything that I want. And when people really start to realize that your energy, everything is energy, currency is energy, money is energy. Like, once you get that, oh my God, the game changes. The game changes, because it doesn't matter what you do. Like I said, when the business closed, I was tripping for a second, but I was like, you know what? It don't matter, because whatever I do, I already know I'm gonna be on top. So I'm not even worried about it, because I'm gonna set a goal, and it might take a little while, but I'm gonna get there. Just like, with the real estate, it was like, okay, life doesn't stop. I got to keep going.
Yeah, what made you what made you want to get into the I mean, you definitely have the personality for that. What made you want to go into that? Which it kind of fits. You had a construction company already, so it already
it kind of fits.
You have the personality to do it. So I think you definitely need to have that people person to be able to talk to people and prospects and things like that. You definitely do have that. But what made you decide to go after this? I mean, you got to put. Let's say we talked about at the beginning of the show. I mean, damn, you had to put a lot of studying in there. You had to put a lot of grind in there, and it wasn't just that. I'm pretty sure why you were studying for that. You had life going on too.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I think that I went into real estate because, like I said, I like to learn. And real estate is a great investment.
Yes.
I mean, you hear about it all the time. So I'm all about expanding the knowledge so that I can expand my finances. And like I said, helping other people do the same thing. I'm a single mom. I have 3 kids, and I was able to buy my own house.
That's hard these days.
And so, yeah, it was extremely difficult. And but I put myself in a position to do so.
Sure.
And I wanted to help other people do the same thing, because you hear it a lot, like, oh, I want to buy a house, I want to do this, oh, but I don't see that for me. Well, why?
Why?
Why do you tell yourself no? Why do you limit yourself to getting things that you desire? Like, it's easy. All you have to do is make a plan and follow it. And people don't understand that. They're just like, how do you do all these things? How do you make a plan and you follow it? And when you put in the work, it doesn't matter. As long as you don't stop, the results have to come.
Yeah.
So put yourself in position.
Yeah.
And that's why, I really want to instill that into people. Like, you can live that dream. You can own a home. You can own multiple properties. You can become a multimillionaire owning these properties and renting them out. I mean, especially in California, you look at the rental market right now, the housing market. Oh my God, the price is insane. People are out here making bank. Like, people have houses paid off, getting $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month just on rent. And some of that is just for rooms. You go out to the Bay Area, like, you're making a lot of money. So for me, it's the potential to really build my financial portfolio, but also expand my knowledge, all while being able to do what I'm passionate about, which is helping people.
Help people.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that right now, because we're in a different era where, years back, just a decent traditional job was enough. Now, with just seeing the cost of everything, and it's like now you gotta. I think knowledge is essential. Before it was like, okay, it was unique. It's good to have knowledge, but now I feel like as we're heading into this territory where things are going to continue to go up, like things aren't going to just gonna trickle down. You're going to have to get more knowledge and just more skill sets to just make yourself viable and give yourself a better shot at success. Just kind of being just getting by and just kind of figure it out now is getting a little harder, right?
Yeah, it's, man, I wish I could tell you so many things.
We'll talk later. It's all good.
We will.
But
I'll say this. It all starts with the mind.
Yeah.
Get your mindset right. And when you can get your mindset right, then you'll be able to learn and apply all those things to be able to bring more sources of income. Because like you said, now you have to have more than one, right? You have people who are in relationships way too long because they need that money.
Because it's sometimes with some people it's a business because okay, he's, she's making 65, he's making 75. We put that together, if we split that apart, what does that look like to kids? So that's kind of scary too.
Yeah, absolutely. So you don't want to be put in that position. You don't want to be put in that position. So just make sure that you're setting yourself up, and it's all in mind. You got to believe in yourself before you can do anything at all. Like even getting up in the morning, like I have a purpose today. I got to get up and I got to do some things. Like I can't just lay here and stay in bed. The people who they got their alarm on and then they shut it off and shut it off and shut it off. It's like, why you even put the alarm on? Like just stay asleep.
Yeah. Man.
It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up.
Hey, everybody, y'all definitely gotta wake up out here. Gotta invest in yourself. Like I said, we live in a different climate. We just live in different times. Jennifer, before I get you out here today, tell our listeners where they can catch you. Shot your IG out or something like that. I know you listened to the podcast already. Yeah. Let's run it down again so they make sure they got that. You put out some dope stuff, and I'm always tuning in.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, my Facebook, Jennifer Arellano, Arellano.
Okay.
The podcast on YouTube, Beautifully You. Apple Podcasts, Beautifully You. And then if you're interested in getting a hold of me, if you want to buy, sell, look into properties, rental properties, you can call me 916-417-5324, and we'll look into what the plan is and get you in a position where you can be successful.
You heard it from my girl. It's your boy Johnny Invest, the Invest Podcast in studio. Make sure you smack that subscribe button. Subscribe to Invest Universal. Be notified every time we drop dope banging content. I want to thank Jennifer Arellano for coming on to the show. Gonna get you on again. It's game. It's always a good time. We don't script nothing. We just have a conversation. It's your boy Johnny Invest.